The Trinity Force Network is proudly sponsored by Gatherer's Gourmet Granola. Granola for people with taste buds. If you're bored with your normal granola and want to try something that won't put your taste buds to sleep, pick up a pack of Gatherer's famous Turtle Tracks on Amazon. Turtle Tracks tickles your mouth with real pecans, dark chocolate, and cranberry. If chocolate isn't your thing, you can always pick up a pack of Bee's Knees with honey, pistachio, and walnut, or one of 4 other specialty flavors. To order, visit bit.ly/TForceGG and use offer code TForceGG for 10% off your Amazon order.
Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogs. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and thank you so much for supporting us. The big announcement of the announcement has been already announced, and you guys have already seen the announcement. Inside the League of Legends client, we have been promoted by Riot Games.
Yay!
That was amazing.
We had the big box.
We did have the big box.
For like 16
Then we had the small
hours.
box.
It was
Then we
like,
had the small box.
yeah, the big box was like, yeah, you're right, about 16 hours.
We had both boxes.
And then we had the little box for like
the
another, what, 4 to 6?
Something like that.
And then it got kicked out. But yeah, we made it. We made it, guys. We made
We
it
did
into
it.
the League of
We
Legends.
hit the big time. Or
If
as
you-
I was doing in TS yesterday, we did a boys and girl because we had one girl in the TS yesterday.
Thanks, Glycerol.
Screenshots last forever.
Yes, and thank you so much. Shout out to Riot Glycerol. That guy, he was the guy who, he contacted me. He's the one who made it so that we were in the client. He's the one who made it so that we had the interview and, you know, all of the...
He's the real
awesome
hero
things.
of
He's
this
the, he's
whole
the
thing.
reason that all this happens. So
Part
thank
of
you
the
so much.
podcast.
If you guys want to read that interview, what it is was the interview with me about the network, and they linked to episode 271, and then they linked to the Ghost Crawler and Riot Light episode. If you want to read that, go visit it at our T-Force Network. You'll see the link. It's right there. It's basically, we did it, boys. And or I'll also link it in the show notes as well. But if you guys ever wondered what that announcement of the whatever was, it's because I was so damn excited that we were going to get promoted by Riot that I just could not control it. And what happened was the week we're supposed to go live, it got knocked out for Tom Kench. And the week after, more Tom Kench news knocked us out again. So we got pushed back.
Q&A
like 2.5
was it?
weeks. Yeah, Q&A is coming up.
No?
It was the actual announcement of Tom Kench knocked us out, and it was the preview of Tom Kench that knocked us out of the preview previously. So
Almost as exciting as that is our new intro song.
Isn't that amazing?
Pretty good.
Bad Administrator
love it.
put that together in like an hour.
Yeah,
I don't know
Bad
how he
Man-
did it.
Again,
badminton's
sold his
solid.
soul for some musical talent.
Yeah, seriously.
I almost want to stop now in the middle of this and just play it again so people can listen to it. Like, that's how damn good it is. Yes, Badman did do the new intro music. If you are interested in listening to it, I will also drop that in here. Auslander. Auslander's in the chat watching us, one of the original podcast members. But yeah, that's it. We have a couple more announcements. So if you're brand new with us, thank you so much for joining us. We have usually the way we do it is we have a whole bunch of announcements in the beginning, and then we try to go an extra 10 minutes afterwards. So you can probably skip the first 10 minutes of the podcast. Sorry if you're getting there.
You want these announcements.
But you're going to
They're
want
pretty
these. Because the very first one is we have a $10 RP card giveaway for the podcast. This is going to last about a week, and the way it's going to happen is you're going to email contest@trinityforcepodcast.com, and you're going to tell me the best way to give away this $10. What is the best contest you can come up with so that I can give away this $10? Now, I'm not going to actually use that contest, so it can be as crazy and stupid as you want it to be. Just give me an idea. Contest@trinityforcepodcast.com, and I will give you $10 in League of Legends RP.
The best contest to win RP.
The best
idea for a contest to win RP will win you RP.
RP.
God, man, that's confusing.
But we won't use that contest idea, apparently, right?
Maybe
Because
later.
this
Maybe in the future.
Oh, Adam's already backtracking on that.
Maybe in
Oh,
the future.
We're not going to
maybe.
use it.
We're
but
banking the ideas for the future.
There you go.
Next announcement is the fact that we have the Trinity Force Network 5v5 team tournament is going on right now. If you haven't heard about that, I haven't really talked about it on the podcast because all the signups went out on the subreddit and they were filled up so quickly I couldn't talk about it. And those have been going live every Saturday at about 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, if you go to Twitch TV/T-Force Podcast on July the 11th, you'll watch the finals where it's going to be the winner of the losers and the winner of the winners are going to face off against each other. Now, there is a bracket reset since they're best of one. So if the winner of the losers beats the winner of the winners, there's a bracket reset and they have to play again. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to make sure we said since it's best of one, there is a bracket reset. If the winners just win the first game, it's over. But no matter whoever wins the entire whole tournament, they win Triumphant Rise, $1,000 in RP, or not $1,000, 1,000 RP.
I was going to say $1,000 in RP, you could buy everything.
Yeah, right.
But it's not $1,000
For you and everyone else, you
For all the
know.
Teemo skins only.
Yeah, right. You can just gift
only
everybody
use
everything.
You can only use it on Teemo skins.
No, and you get an RP or an IP boost as well. And second, third place get like IP boosts and stuff. They get some, they get some RP and IP boosts. But those are all funded by Riot. So our tournaments are now officially funded by Riot from this point forward. So if you did not get in the T-Force tournament 5v5 because you're not following us on the subreddit /r/T-Force Network, you're
There will be more
get in the next one. Yeah, because we are sponsored by Riot, like wholly and officially here now. With that said, after it's all done, at about we'll say 9 or probably 9:30, 10 o'clock, the Trinity Force proper is going to be playing against the winners of that. So you guys can see all of us playing that night.
Nice.
And like I said to Claude, if you're on, we're tossing you in, buddy. You're
I'll have an empty mana bar ready for you.
Oh yeah, right.
Even though,
But if the Claude's empty mana bar
make it
yeah, I was gonna say if they made it, we can't let you play
with an empty mana bar.
But yes, the proper will be playing against them. It'll probably be like a trade-off between DeClaude and Horse Doctor because Horse has been doing a lot for it too. We wanted to get him in there and be able to play as well. And yeah, we're gonna try to we're just gonna try to play. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come watch us play. Come watch us do a best of 3 against that team after they've already played a best of 2, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's on the 11th, July 11th. That's next Saturday. I think that's the only. Oh, one last announcement, the very last one here. Oh, actually, there's other announcements. If you don't win the $10 in RP on the proper podcast, go listen to Oz and Luell, go listen to the LCS Rundown, go listen to 4 Wards, follow us on Twitter, follow us at Battle Arena, go to Bronze Boot Camp, and also go on Facebook because I'm doing $100 total in RP to give away across the network.
I would actually be very interested if one person's able to go in and like snatch up more than one.
They cannot.
Of the
Only one person can win.
I want to test your rules, Adam.
The only other announcement that I have for this week is that I have added an additional tier to Patreon. Now, hear me out, guys. I know we talk about Patreon a lot. I've added a 1 penny tier, and DeClaude, he was the one who came. Well, he didn't come up with the idea. He came up with the good afterthought after I put it up there.
Afterthought.
What was that, DeClaude?
Well, we already give our thoughts on the show, so we're finally going to get that penny for our thoughts.
That's right. So we have added a new tier. It's a penny tier because we kind of figured there's some of you out there who want to support the podcast, but you don't have any way to support it. So give us a penny because every person, it all adds up in the long run. Like we've said, if you want to give us $1, that $1 adds up in the long run. There's only like 7 of you, which is fine. I mean, I'm not complaining. But if you can only give a penny, if you only give 25 cents a month, if you only give 50 cents a month, I'm just going to give you a thank you email. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Give us a penny for our thoughts. Like seriously.
It just makes sense.
It does. Just makes sense. So yeah, go check us out, patreon.com/T-Force Network. That's it. That's announcements. That's our 10 minutes of announcements we do every time.
Was your 2 cents?
That was my 2 cents. We're going to jump right in because this is a mailbag episode. But before we get to the mailbag episode, I do want to bring up something that happened on episode 272. And that's we talked about Runeglaive Ezreal. And we had a lot of people who were upset at us for talking about the Runeglaive Ezreal. And I would like to just say that... I should have Chira do his intro right now.
Oh, all right. So what I was going to say is that between sometimes when changes happen, patches roll out, we do episodes or whatever, there isn't that much time for us to, test things out in the full scheme of knowing how powerful certain things are. That being said, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is a lot of anecdotal evidence from experiences while playing, and that's coming from a bunch of people in here that have way more than 3+ years of experience. Declawed has been playing since the start of the game. I've been playing for 4 years plus at this point. I know Adam's been playing just as long, and I can only imagine Daze and Punch have played for a age as well. That being said, there are some times where people might be wrong about things, and we use the experience we have playing the game, sort of like background knowledge of a bunch of stuff, and sort of how we feel things are going to play out to go with some of our analysis. And not it's not right 100% of the time. That being said, we have been right a lot, and
yeah, pretty much what he's saying.
What people aren't perfect, and we might make a mistake about something. And mind you, I wasn't even on that show, but like I also not a huge fan of something that most players aren't going to be able to take advantage of if they don't know how to play the person they're playing.
You know what's
if you're
funny,
banking on it to be OP?
That rant was perfect, or whatever your soapbox there was perfect, because that was pretty much what I wanted to say. Was I'm sorry if I upset you. I'm sorry if we said something incorrectly, and I'm sorry
if our opinions hurt your feelings.
Yeah, it didn't match up with yours. I'm not actually sorry. It's more of like I'm sorry that you're hurt. But
it's not even that. It's more of like, hey guys, this is what was said. Things happen. If you're not 100% happy with it, throw feedback to us. We love it. It's discussion.
And we got some today. And
it is beautiful discussion fuel. But at the same time, you're gonna have to get over it if you don't agree with us. That's fine to not agree with us. It's cool.
Normally we don't agree with each other either.
Yeah.
We usually have people
I'll
on
be
both
honest though,
sides.
we didn't really agree with each other like during that Ezreal podcast either.
No, I mean there was some arguing going on, and we were all on the kind of the same page where like the more experience and you have with Ezreal and the higher ranked you are, the easier it's going to be pull off. Like we were all on that page, but we were all disagreeing on like how powerful it was and things like that. And that's pretty normal for us. Usually, I mean, we've yelled at each other before. We've yelled at each other before we've even gotten on the podcast and said, okay, wait, we need to wait for the cast.
I wish you people could see some of our inner, like, proper fives discussion that we do on our Slack service, where we basically just talk shit to each other all day long.
Right.
When you told me to shut the fuck up and stop talking, and you were like, get out of here.
It would really open people's eyes up to just how dysfunctional our little family is.
Right.
But we love each other. So
all
it's
right.
okay.
Now, onto this Runeglaive Ezreal. Are we going to reopen the doors to that?
No, I'm not reopening the doors.
Why would we talk about Runeglaive Ezreal when Runeglaive Gangplank is so much better?
Dude, Runeglaive GP is sick.
That's the true OP right there. I'm talking about Ezreal.
That's honestly got to change. Like I can't see them leaving that. So anyone who doesn't know, the problem with it is that Runeglaive makes Gangplank's Q crit magic damage, right? Which also procs Luden's Ekko. So
yeah,
like
it can crit is what it can do, because
stupid.
it's a physical attack that is converted to magic damage, but still keeps the physical damage attributes to it, so it can crit.
So it actually makes APGP legit.
And Luden's on top of it. It's just, it's really stupid.
Really awesome.
That is cool. Mess around with
It's
it, guys.
amazing if it's on your team. It is terrible if it's on the other team.
Ride it to victory.
What I really like about APGP, what I've always liked, is that Ludens can proc off his ult, and now that the ult comes down in waves,
Right.
as long as you are walking back, as long as you are continually
It'll keep
walking,
building
Ludens keep procking off his ult.
So
you
all
really-
of
you
those
walk in
people
circles.
that came from StarCraft and you have great APM, you just walk back and forth while you're doing your ult.
You just buy Home Guard, and you
around
cast
ult.
it from base and run back, because the more distance you travel, the faster that Ludens stacks.
Oh my gosh.
So I wonder how long it's going to stick.
Crazy. I don't know. It depends how
Probably-
many people jump on that bandwagon.
It'll
and how quick
it'll
it is.
last just about as long as AP Tryndamere did, and
What? I've been playing APGP
That's
since
what's
God
up.
knows, since
Brush-
Lichbane was good.
This
what was it
is a little
the brush
different,
fire the brush fire Zyra or the
Burning Brush.
yeah
Fire.
burning bush Zyra? There you go. Like it'll get phased out
They
eventually.
take them
Just you
away
wait.
pretty quickly.
Yep. Basically, it's like, oh, you found a nice shiny thing that shouldn't exist. Gone.
Right.
Mommy and Daddy
this
have
is
to take
one
it
of those
away.
This is one of those things that we went back to. Like, if you go back to our playing to win episode, the new mentality episode, where we were like, there are things that are in the game that you can take advantage of, and they're supposed to be there, and then there are bugs, and Riot's quick to fix them. This is one of those bugs. Like, this is not something that I think they intended to happen at all.
Critting
But ride it while it's still there.
Right.
Yeah, some LPs.
I mean, yeah, it can crit, and that's great and all, but you kind of have to have like a specialized rune page for it because there are no crit AP items.
Yeah, you need to actually still build AP and get crit somehow. I was thinking about that as we were talking about it. I'm like, wait, this doesn't sound very natural.
What if you just go AD and get that item? It'll crit with the AD damage, but call it magic damage?
It's kind of like a mixed build. The thing is that you can do either or. It doesn't matter. APGP's always existed because the ultimate has has a massive AP scaling on it. It hits in every wave, and W has a 1.0 AP scaling on it, so that you just eat and you go back to full life.
Full heal!
Yeah.
The APGP build was like Lichbane and Spirit Visage because you could Q crit for Lichbane and then get out of any CC you wanted with a full life W. But obviously that's changed a little bit now that there's Runeglaive. And
so until it's patched, pick or ban GP? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I would. I honestly wouldn't like that.
If you know what to do when you're doing it, if you're just picking it and not knowing how it works and expecting it to be OP, and you lose, you can't be mad at us because you didn't know how to play it.
Are you saying you should know how to play this game to use something? That's amazing. Anyway, let's teach. No. Let's teach people how to play this game right now. Like I said, Drunkophobia is like in full effect tonight. Let's go. I picked a fucking Lake Erie monster. This is the very first time I can get Lake Erie monster this year. I am so excited.
I was going to say, you were drinking it all the time before last year, was it?
Yeah, last summer.
Yeah.
That's Adam's jam.
It is my favorite fucking beer ever. 9.1%. Tastes like the nectar of the goddamn gods.
By the way, I did a Malzahar top with AP and Runeglaive Smite, and it was team builder. I won the lane and we won the game, but it wasn't amazing. You barely noticed the damage even on minions. He already clears the minions fast with his abilities anyway, so that doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, right.
So.
It didn't really help you too much.
Yeah, it didn't help too much.
Let's get challenging Smite, even though he's stunned and he can't attack me.
No, I took Trailblazer for double clear.
Oh, I like it.
Ooh.
I'm in. I like it.
Right. So I was just going to be a bully and split push Malzahar with my little dudes.
All right, well, let's do listener questions. We got a lot of them, right? Hold on. All right. Sorry, guys.
That was attractive. Unfortunately, for all you new listeners, this is a normal saying.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Adam's dying.
I'm dying. All right. So, something we always say: if you'd like to donate and ask a question, we do take donations for questions. We can be bribed, as in Trent found out with $5. He donated $5 to us and said, "Hey guys, Trent here. I wrote in last week with Riot hating magic resist question. I have not thought about it that way before, and you guys answered my question and loved it. I think that was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. That our last
probably.
Yeah, I don't even know if you were there for that one.
I don't think he was. It doesn't matter though.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember too.
I have another question, and it might be better suited to the 4 Wars guys. So if you send it off to them, by all means. Well, we're going to answer it. So my question is about Banshee's Veil. I never know how to use it most effectively. I'm a bronze baddie, sad face here. But when I go in a game and there's a siege and someone on the other team, I use a low cooldown ability to pop it before we engage. After that, it seems semi-useless other than the additional health MMR for the big pound of getting Banshee's Veil is that passive shield. I think it's too unreliable, yada yada. How do I play against, how do I play with, what is the point of Banshee's Veil? I think that's what he's asking, right?
Banshee's Veil is like it's just one of those items that when you're using it, it feels like it's useless, and when it's on the other team, it's like, oh my god, I can't do anything. They have Banshees.
Yeah, it by itself can stop people, or at least trick them into not engaging because they don't think they can get that CC off on you.
Right. I play a hard CC champs, and that's really tough to work around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good against that. It's also good against champions that rely on a full spell rotation to take you out. Specifically assassins like LeBlanc. LeBlanc does not want to jump on you if you've got a Banshee's Veil up, right? And you know another good example was AP Malphite, which you don't really see that often, but he exists out there. Assassin AP Malphite.
Really? Let's be honest.
There was one game where I was playing against AP Malphite, and his job was to just ult me and kill me as the AD carry. And he did that over and over again until I bought a Banshee's Veil, and then he never ulted me again. It's not that he wasted his ult on me, it's that he couldn't use his ult on me because I had Banshee's Veil.
Right. Well, and especially with champions like that, who their initiates also their biggest damage. Like AP Malphite, that immediately kills their ability to do their biggest damage if you still have that shield up.
So like again,
it's great against Annie.
Yeah, it's a deterrent for people to be able to hard engage on you, or if they do hard engage on you, you're eating like a potential third of the incoming, front-loaded burst, which can be massive if you're already super
Well,
squishy.
The big
So-
time with here is I think you're on the right track. Anybody out there, if you see Banshee's Veil, you should use a low cooldown ability, or you should use something to try to pop that. And as soon as it's popped, you should try to engage in that 40, I think it's 40 seconds that it takes it to pop back up at this point. Do I have that right?
It's like 45.
Yeah, because I know they nerfed it a while ago.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah,
45,
as soon as
whatever it
it's
is.
down, you need to go in. The thing about that, and the reason why it's not like, oh, it's so easy, I can just
40
kill it,
seconds.
is that
Yep, you're
most
right.
of those, right? Most of those low cooldown abilities have fairly short ranges. So, and they can't be killed like a Zyra plant attacking someone with the shield won't kill it. So, like, if you're a Sona Q, that range is long, but it's not long enough that you can do that without risk of dying yourself, because that person could just turn around and engage on you. Like, if it's an Amumu or someone like that who has their own engage, and a lot of times, like, initiators get Banshee's Veils, then if you get that close where you're trying to pop it and you're not careful about your positioning and all you're worried about is popping it, you could die pretty easily.
Right. Plus, at bronze where you're at, the enemy might have that mentality like, oh, I really have to pop that Banshee's Veil so I can initiate, and then overextend, put themselves in a bad spot.
Yeah,
Right.
The way to play around it is to try to pop it with the low cooldown ability, and then as soon as that low cooldown ability is back up, engage. Or somebody should be engaging on your team. Somebody else should be aware. Now, I understand in solo queue that's really hard to play around. This is much
Right.
more of a 5 strategy because you can't force your team to engage. But at the same time, if you can pop that and then wait around for it, like Pantheon, I like Pantheon a lot in solo queue because he can engage team fights even when he's because he's super far ahead, and most people like die as soon as he drops. But you can queue and then engage the fight right after the Q. Q is low enough cooldown at that point in the game. They have Banshee's Veil that you can turn that around. And I'm only talking this to probably Golden Blow because a lot of people won't take advantage of you queuing them to pop the Banshee's Veil to engage on you. Like I think Daze was pointing out before that if you're trying to pop the Banshee's Veil, the enemy team should also be looking to engage on that person who's trying to pop it, so you can use it as bait. There's a lot of counterplay and to both sides of this.
And
And
if
this
you're
brings
the... Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
this brings into the point where, or the situation where it's bad to buy Banshee's Veil, where that's against these sieging comps.
Right.
Siege poke comps. Like if they got someone like Ezreal, or they got someone like Nidalee.
That they have a
Lux.
spammable long range
Ziggs,
thing that can
Ezreal.
Exactly.
fit into the
Ziggs
line.
is a good
Yeah.
one too. Long range, spammable skill shots or what have you that can pop that Banshee's Veil. That's when you don't want to get it because it's just too easy for them to take it out.
But you know what? When they rely on that, you're soaking some of that up. It's you get health and
the
MR
thing is,
regardless.
because
Yeah,
of the
I
long
mean-
cooldown, they only need to pop it once, and then either they can initiate
Right.
or they can just continue poking.
Yeah,
But
because of
they're
the long
40
cooldown, they have a
40
40-second
is a long
window.
time.
Yeah.
They usually, if they have some kind of good initiation.
You have to
that's
avoid
what you're
taking
relying
damage
on.
for that time before it comes back.
Hell, you could argue
And
that
there-
most team
You gotta
fights
play
are
around it.
over within that 40-second window, regardless if there's a full engage that it actually goes down.
And there are enough other MR items that you can, if you don't pick up Banshees, you can pick up something else if you're against like the heavy poke type.
I feel like people are going to argue with you about that. They're going to be like, where the hell is what the hell is that? Force of nature!
I know.
Well, the other choice
It's
is Spirit
dead.
Visage.
Sad.
Just like your dreams.
That's the MR and the health. Spirit Visage is the other
Use
item that
Spirit
builds out of the cowl.
Visage. You can get, if you're tanking the jungler and your support doesn't have it, you can get Aegis. You can get QSS if you're, a bot laner or something like that, if you're an ADC. Like, there are several other options. You just have to know what to use and when to use it so that you get the most out of it. And if you're playing and you're the one with the Banshee's Veil, then just stand back until you're ready to engage. Like, don't give them that opportunity to try to pop it easily. Make them work for it.
Or make them pop it, then engage. Like, if you're at that
Right.
middle ground where you think you have that engage, you have that Malphite, make them use
Put one of their abilities
on
on cooldown. Yeah.
Exactly. Put one of their abilities in cooldown. It's just, you have to understand how to play around it, and that comes with an understanding of how champions play and what champions using abilities and how quickly they're going to come up. Every time we bring about anything like this, it's really hard for us as a podcast to explain why you should do it, because it's so situational based. But understand, that's why we always tell you, try to understand the overarching piece of the game. Understand what champions are doing, understand what items they have. Press tab all the fucking time and try to understand. Same thing with Ludens. I think that's where it goes back to this. I think Runglaive is going to be like the discussion for tonight, just indirectly, and that's if you're Runglaive Ezreal, you should know to pop it, and then continue to walk around and move while you're, to get that next Runglaive proc. Because if you're not moving, you're not getting Runglaive procs.
Ludens.
You mean
Or
Ludens, bro.
Ludens, excuse me. Yes,
Adam,
right.
you're fueling the rage.
Whatever.
Get your shit right.
That's the whole point. Like, you need to be continually moving, you need to be walking, you need to be continually casting spells, because spells help with it. Yada, yada. You know,
I think a GP would be a better example here.
Yeah. Just
Fire
pop your ult,
Yeah,
walk,
use Gangplank.
charge ahead. All right, so we're going to move on
Can
to the
tell
next
what Punch
question.
is playing tonight.
Yup.
Punch, will you
Yeah,
play that
please don't.
tonight for me?
But do what?
Will you play
You're
that
playing
tonight for me?
APGP. It's
Oh,
happening.
yeah, sure. Can I play bot lane?
Did we raise your morale on that enough? You gonna run around and...
Matt writes in. He has a second part of his question that we probably missed the first time around. He says, the second question I had is regarding Ekko. How do I play against the guy short of banning him? It seems impossible because of how loaded his kit is. Unlike a typical assassin like Zed or Diana, he is useless when behind because of his W.
He isn't useless when he's behind because of W.
Or, sorry, he isn't. That makes more sense. He isn't useless when he's behind.
Because he actually provides utility.
Yeah, we answered part 1 of Matt's email a while back, and I can't remember what it was. But at the time, I feel like this was kind of more relevant because Ekko, at least in the LCS, and I think in solo queue as well, has kind of fallen off, where he's not getting picked as much. People are still scared of him. He's still got a scary
new.
play style to play against. But I think
He's still
people
annoying.
aren't as afraid of him as before. He is annoying. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He's annoying.
How do you play against Ekko? You play around his cooldowns. And we can't tell. Honestly, this question is too hard to answer as a podcast because there's too many individual scenarios to tell you how to play around Ekko. The brunt of the situation is you play around his Q and his dash. If his Q is down, you can poke at him. If his Q is down, you can all in with skill shots, essentially. So understanding which is down, and then obviously if everything is down, you can just all in him outside of W. Like, just don't stand in his W range. I see a lot of Echoes walk into Fog of War for an extended period of time, and that is over a second. And you know at that point they are launching W somewhere in your vicinity.
You have to be ready to react to it because, I mean, it's really hard for them to get that off. It's not an easy ability to use.
It's like a Panthol.
Right. I mean, they
Gotta wind up.
You have a good opportunity to dodge it just by being unpredictable in your movements. And once you do, since so much power is built into W, he loses a lot of it if he whiffs it.
I've got to be honest with you. I don't play against him ever, and I've never played him, so I can't give you a lot of first-hand experience. But what I would recommend in this situation, especially where like Ekko's fallen off in terms of favorability, his win rate is pretty bad right now. So there are obviously ways to deal with him. So I'd recommend going to YouTube and just looking up challenger level players or players that you know that have played anything, because they'll play against them and you'll be able to see how they react to it and what those high level players do in those situations, and that will give you a good idea of how to deal with him.
Yeah, one of the big
play
things
him
is
yourself. Play him yourself, and that'll
That
give you
too.
the best
That's
idea.
really important.
I will give to Horse Doctor for this because it's something I know but I didn't think about to bring out there, is that if a Q is thrown out at you, play to the left of right of it, because the way it works is like Silver Boomerang, where it follows it follows back to where he has walked to the last point. It follows him,
It goes to
essentially.
him.
Right. Yeah, it just goes to him. That's
It tracks on him.
Yeah, it tracks on him. But if you play to the left or right of it, it can't hit you. So the biggest way is once you see, if you know where he's going to shoot it out, which you can basically tell where he's going to try to shoot it, because he's going to try to not harass the minion wave. He's going to try to harass you with it, unless he's pushing. Just don't play inside your minion wave, and play to the left or right of the lane. And if he shoots it, play to the left or right of the ability, because it can't hit you.
I love how like you could also insert real life examples with like learning how to use angles if you're boxing or kickboxing or something like that,
huge.
because it's straight up like the best situation if somebody's coming at you isn't necessarily to move directly back to avoid it. You can move side to side, and that can be just as effective because it allows you to potentially engage or back off as well.
Do we want to talk boxing angles? Because a lot of boxing angles are just a step off a quarter of a degree to the left or to the right, which puts you right into the place the left hook or left straight or whatever it may be, or right if you're southpaw. Like most punches are missed by just a few, like a few inches, not even that. So the same thing you can go with League of Legends. The less movements you have to do, the better.
Those real world analogies, boys and girls.
And you can use that same tactic against Diana with her little crescent Q as well, because it always comes out of her right side.
Oh yeah,
Arts.
so you always know where it's coming from.
It was actually interesting because when Diana was at her peak power,
She's powerful now.
I gave that advice to somebody. I'm like, if you can just learn how to time the way that's going to go, and you move like in certain directions around that ability, it becomes way easier to dodge. And you'd be surprised at the fact that people don't think about that when abilities are coming towards them. They kind of need to be trained to open up to kind of get used to that sort of thing. And
one way to do it is just play the champion yourself. You will learn the ins and outs of the champion, and then you'll get frustrated when things happen to you and be like, you know what, I'm going to do that to them next time. So that's the best way to do it.
You guys ever drink so much beer that you have like cotton mouth when you're trying to podcast? Because it's the fucking worst.
That sounds like a problem.
Not when I'm trying to podcast, no.
All right, we're gonna edit that out. Or maybe we won't, whatever. So you know what, Lancer? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. No writes in. A lot of pros, and I think perhaps you guys... What does that mean? A lot of pros, and I think perhaps you guys say that top should not be the person who just split pushes all game and should fight with the team instead. I used the split push, and I did great, usually. But now I tried joining team fights after tower, but the top laner won't stop split pushing and ends up hurting my team in the end. What should I do?
Oh,
win lane harder. Actually, no. Here's the deal. No. That was a joke. I understand your plight because you have that teleport. You've made that awesome play bottom. You've received a double kill. You've picked up a dragon, but the enemy is now taking top tower, or the enemy is now pushed into the second tower, and you're wondering, did my top play, my teleport play, actually make a difference? Make a difference. Yeah. It does if you can push your team.
Follow up with your team is it comes a lot in how your team reacts with you to do certain things after you can make a move on the map. So for example, like let's just use some arbitrary bullshit like the old school Singed or Mordekaiser or whatever playstyle, and that like you're just going to be, we can use Nasus too, because we've probably all seen that Nasus who just wants to sit in lane all game and farm up their Q.
That's kind of how Nasus should be playing anyway, because he can't team fight, so he should be pretty split pushing.
What will typically happen is that, like, hey, let's say you did beat that guy in lane, and then you did leave to go help do something. And meanwhile, during that entire major length of time that you're gone, he's able to basically free farm and catch up and keep pushing and all that stuff. It becomes a situation where, like, yeah, your TP may have made a difference, but unless, like, you can really take advantage of the fact on, hey, you're able to teleport bot, pick up that kill, take the turret, grab dragon. You need to be getting more out of the fact that that guy just wants to sit up there and farm as much as possible, as long with you not being there. So like pressuring as much on the map as you can and just being aware of like, oh, hey, he's getting the turret. Somebody should like potentially deal with him so he can't take this. Or, hey, he's up there and he's going to be heading that way, so you can go with other people to potentially cut him off as well.
I think the common occurrence of this is that you teleport bot, you receive the double or single kill, and then they want to go take dragon, but in the meantime, the top laner is pushing. As the top laner, assuming, based on how the game is being played and based on how much life you have out of the gank, I mean, there's a lot of little scenarios that can happen, that dragon probably isn't worth your time to take just because 6% AD and AP isn't that big at the point in game that you've teleported down to change it. You should be, as a top laner, as soon as you've gotten that double kill, you should unless you're playing a team game and you can transition as a team to move somewhere, you probably should just be going back top lane and back to your island.
You shouldn't
and that's the
necessarily
mistake that people make.
Yeah, you shouldn't let that person free farm and just take stuff if you can avoid that happening, is what it comes down to. Like,
it's the difference between solo queue and ranked 5s, essentially.
You want to be able to make major plays, but if you can't like necessarily get your team to take multiple objectives for that play, if you can go down and take something and you can get back to base and get back up the lane quickly to potentially shut down that person who wants to farm, that can be very, very powerful too if your team can get stuff on their own.
Yeah, that's the situational part of it. Like if you leave and then as soon as the gank finishes, whether it's a win or loss, they're already on your tower, then yeah, you probably need to haul ass back there. Or take, like you were saying, take an objective from it, because you're probably going to lose your tower anyway, so you should force bot tower in exchange.
Think about it.
I mean, before you leave the lane, kind of sets up what you're going to do afterwards. Like if you're pushed up on the enemy's tower, he's not going to have a lot of time to push back on you. So that gives you more options, right? If you're pushed up to his tower and he's got to clear that wave before he can start pushing against you after you leave, then you can stay for an objective and maybe go back. Maybe have enough time to go back top lane after that, and you've got more options depending on how fast they push.
That buys you time. But I like to think when I'm out there and I make a decision whether I'm going to teleport, I'm like, is getting a kill on maybe their ADC and a flash out of their support or vice versa worth me possibly losing my tower? Otherwise, is doing that and then taking a dragon after the fact worth it? Yeah, probably. Or it depends on what dragon it is as well. Or if you can push and get that other bottom turret. But also take into account, if you see the jungler, the enemy jungler somewhere not wherever you're going to gank, that's a good time to do it, because you know things might not get too wonky. It's like, oh, okay, we weren't expecting their jungler to be there, and then everything just went south. The top laner sitting there farming, and it was all for naught. So
you can also communicate with your jungler, and if he's not bot lane, or if he's not the spot where you're ganking, ask him to cover your lane for you.
Well, and on the flip side of that whole thing as well, let's say that you're losing top lane a bit. If the enemy top laner wants to get if you're in a position to where they're spending a lot of time focusing on getting those early dragons, and you know that the enemy top laner is going to be out of lane for a while, you can shove the shit out of those turrets if somebody's not going to be there. And in the early game, with those weaker like dragon buffs, you can get a pretty significant advantage for yourself in just being able to make up for that lost gold and transfer that into later dragon kills, because the first 2 dragon kills aren't as big a deal,
right?
If you can potentially fight for them later.
Well, let's roll this conversation back around into split pushing, because I don't think that split pushing is a bad thing in solo queue. Something that I found very effective in solo queue is holding onto that teleport for a lot longer than you think you need to hold it onto, because yes, teleporting bot and getting those kills and getting your bottom lane ahead, that's a great thing. I'm not telling you don't do that. I'm telling you to think about how you do it, because I find myself in solo queue using my I find myself being very selfish in solo queue with my teleports. I find myself teleporting back to my top lane. I find myself teleporting into team fights that are already breaking out, rather than forcing team fights in the bottom lane to get my bottom lane ahead.
Like, realistically, you shouldn't be forcing team fights, because if they go wrong, then it just gives free farm for whoever you're playing against.
I know we do a lot of preaching of play as a team and communicate and whatnot, but I'll be honest, there is a point in times in solo queue where you just have to be selfish, and you just have to play for yourself. And as such, is playing with that teleport and using that to your advantage in top lane and forcing people to come and deal with you. And you just have to figure out which type of player are you. Are you the type of player that props up? Or are you the type of player that's allowed to duel and allows your team to take control?
And it also takes, like, it's the recognition of knowing, hey, I'm playing this person that can potentially clear waves quickly, take turrets pretty quickly.
I can get out. I can duel.
Right.
I can do it. Yeah.
If you're able to push and you're taking objectives on your own, and they're focusing too much on one side of the map, and they have to send 2 people to deal with you because you were able to get a CS advantage or an objective advantage, or you can 1v1 the enemy top laner, so he's afraid and he's asking for help, that can be pretty effective as well, in that it opens up the rest of your map to not be at a player disadvantage in ganks or certain other issues, or gives your support like the time to roam and not worry about getting ganked by the jungler if they know that the jungler is going to be top.
But also keep an eye on what your team's doing. You are in solo queue after all, and if your jungler's in the jungle farming, you got 1 mid, 1 bot, support's roaming around sniffing out wards, and you're split pushing, no one's together. And if they dogpile one of them, they'll have an advantage, and hopefully you can try to split push, but they might be able to react in time. So don't expect your team to do the right thing. Don't say, yeah, I'm split pushing. T4 said I'm going to split push, and you're going to stay together, and you're going to have an advantage over here. But if they're not doing that, then it's not helping anything.
Right.
Like Adam said, play selfishly, because control what you can control. You know, if you're stacking yourself up, you're split pushing, getting a lot of CS, and then pushing back, they might have to deal with you. And forget what the rest of your team is doing. You can one-man army it as best as you can, if that's the case.
It's a slippery slope that we ride here in the podcast. As I was stumbling through my words, I was trying to think of a better way to put that. We ride a very thin fence between play selfishly and play for your team.
Yeah.
Because there are times where you have to do both.
Coming back to certain things, everything's super situational, and it's one of the, certain times it's way better and it's detrimental to your team if you go to split push. Like, it can be, if you're just going to chill out top lane all game and the enemy team groups is 5 and they're taking the entire map, like, that will hurt your team way more. But if you can, like, actually put out enough pressure to draw more people to deal with you and they're afraid of you, that can be an advantage. So, like, again, it becomes it's so. I hate saying things are situational because there's so many
I know,
things
it's
in this
such
game that
a
are
broad-
situational. But like half of
Go ahead,
ranking
Daze.
up, half of ranking up is figuring out what situations certain things work better in.
The hard part about what we do is that people take what we say and then they take it off and then they don't apply it as like find out what's going on in the game, think about the situations, and then like apply what we said. It's kind of like, oh, they said that split pushing is bad, don't do it, we need to group. And that just becomes a mentality. And what we're trying to encourage you to do is think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And if you can come up with a reason why, then you'll probably be justified. And at least if we've said this a million times, if you have a reason why and it doesn't work, at least you know why you did it, and then you can reanalyze what you did. If you did it and you have no idea why, then at the end of the day, you didn't learn anything from it. That being said, if you're strong enough, like ideally a split pusher can 1v2, like they need to send 2 people after you and you can escape if you get caught. And if you're in that situation where you can do that and you shove to tower and they send 2 people at you and your team is now in a 4v3 or you can TP to them, it's now a 5v3, it's a really good way to get objectives. And there's a lot of champions that are based in solo queue like Trinity and Yi that are based solely around split pushing and playing selfishly.
They're basically
And
like,
so-
hey,
to
we're
deal
going to
with.
win every 1v1 and you have to
Udyr.
send people to deal with us.
Right.
Udyr's one.
Yeah,
He
Udyr's
just runs
another
around, does
one.
what he wants.
So you have to know like the strengths of your champion. Like you cannot send. There's a lot of champions that just are not ideal to send. You know, Nunu sending Nunu top to split push is probably not the best idea. But you need to know your champion and why you're doing the strategy that you're using.
There you have
Well,
it.
they don't know what strategy they're using because they're asking us.
And
Right.
it's funny because
Yeah,
as soon
they
as
do.
she says that, I'm like, you haven't seen my AP Nunu split push
Oh,
with James
Jesus
Oh my
Spikes.
God.
I have.
What? No.
Please
no.
don't split
Oh
push.
my god,
Who
no.
was it? Who do we have in the
If you
new
support
We
episode?
did
Don't
expected the
split push.
Nexus. That was good.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
we had Hawk, who's the Masters level Nunu, and every like 15 minutes, like, don't play AP Nunu. Whatever you do, I will find you. Do not play AP Nunu.
Dude.
But yeah, it's
I'm on the Chira normal hype Nunu
And-
train
all right,
because it's fucking
AP
stupid.
AP Nunu is so good against people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But like, if you find anybody who's like, oh, you're playing that, you're dead.
If you find anybody worth the grain of salt, it's the easiest thing to
Yeah,
counter.
yeah,
in the world.
they
Yeah,
can
you're
they
right.
can crush you. But
No, it's funny. Yeah.
I love the ulting. The wait for it,
Yeah.
pop. 2 of them
Yeah.
die.
yeah,
Oh, look at
so good.
I know. I had 800 AP and my ult was doing 4,000 damage in full channel. It was just dumb.
Wow.
Anyway, let's move
Alright,
But
on.
that-
don't play AP Nunu in legit games because
Hey.
you're the devil.
I need another beer. So who wants to read the next question?
Abram.
Yeah,
I'll read it. Abram. Just wondering if you had a link or something informative on helping me choose which item to buy when in LOL. I'm a jungle main who usually plays tank/utility-based champions, and I have trouble with kind of buying the same few items each game. If the enemy team is building more AD, I buy Frozen Heart or Randuin's, depending on if I want more CDR or not. And if they're going more AP, I usually buy Banshees or Spirit Visage, depending on if my champ can take advantage of the passive. I just don't know when I should be going Locket or something else entirely after I get those core items. Thanks.
I would realistically, if he against those more AP heavy comps, throw out the Banshees early and focus more on getting that Locket to help out your team more as soon as you get the chance to. Because if you know what you're doing and you can actually get that shield off on multiple people during team fights, that's so big early. Like it can be pretty significant in team fights, whether it be a dragon when you're 3-man ganking bot with. I'm a big fan of Locket if the enemy team has more AP, but
Yeah.
for the most part, you seem on the right track with knowing like kind of the route you want to go. It just becomes a situation of knowing, if team fights are going to happen, they have more AD than AP. You might want a certain item, and it's a little bit different because unlike when you're laning against somebody, you're thinking more of what's going to happen in potential team fights or small skirmishes rather than, hey, I'm top lane against an AD or an AP champion. I should buy this so I can actually win lane. And then you show up and people are doing AD and you're dead because you have no mitigating stats.
Yeah, if you're building tank, also try to make sure you're balancing your mitigating stats, as usage and your HP. you kind of want to mix those together since they work so well. We talked about effective HP, and the more armor magic resist you have, the more valuable each point of HP is worth. So if you already have high armor against an AD team, then look at that Warm Box, because the HP is going to help out a lot. And in general, if you're looking to round out your build, you're not sure what to build. Like you've got a lot of gold for a particular game as a jungler, and you're going onto your 5th or 6th item, you're just not sure what to build. I would check out probuilds.net as a reference, and then just type in the champion you're playing, because that just lists all the professional players that have played that champion across a certain number of games in recent times. And
yeah, it basically shows you what they built in the masteries and the runes they took in their most recently played games playing those champions, and you can kind of use that as a guide. Of what common
they played against.
Right.
Of common things that they're playing, but you also have to take into account the types of teams that they're playing into.
Yeah. That's why I only list as a reference. Don't take that as a gospel.
Don't take it as the be all end all.
Click on the game, see what they're playing against, and then if you're lucky, you can find something similar. Like, so and so is playing Sejuani into a high AD team. Okay, let's see what he built.
And if it's a full AD team, like you're saying, don't be afraid to buy that Thornmail.
Just don't buy Thornmail first
item in the game.
No,
because you're not getting most benefit.
Right.
Thornmail first buy, but I have so much effective life for my runes because I have HP per level runes. Chira,
make me slap the shit out of you right now.
But Chira, I'm running flat HP in my runes as well. Why should I not
buy
Thornmail?
Not enough HP. Stop it.
But Chira, I am building extra armor as well. Why don't I go ahead and get oppressive armor?
Adam's drunk and he's being oppressive. So let's move on.
Adam, you're oppressing me.
I'm not drunk. It's so sad. My alcohol tolerance is so high that I'm not drunk. I've had 3 of these tonight. Now about 4.
But see, here's the thing. You're kind of acting it, and my friend's got the same problem where he'll just whiff a beer and then he'll start acting drunk, and we'll say, "Sean, we know you're not drunk. Just stop it." But he can't. He thinks he's drunk.
I can't help it.
Thinks he's drunk.
No, seriously, look at that. Come on.
What?
I'm not.
The monster. Okay, got it.
You are
Great
sucking
Lakes.
the
Lake
dick
Erie
of
monster.
You got a problem.
Lake Erie monster.
This is the best fucking beer.
How hoppy is that?
It's actually
Adam,
more malty than this.
It's not as hoppy as this. That's for
Dude,
damn sure.
2.0 is fucking good.
Save it for when they pay us to sponsor them. Come on.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm going to message Great Lakes. I'm going to be like, look at all these 1-penny sponsors we have at Patreon. We have over 300 people.
We also happen to live within 3 hours of Cleveland.
Yeah, we
I'm
will
going to
come
bring
there and
another
do a
beer on if you
podcast.
don't sponsor
We'll
us.
do a podcast at your brewery while we brew beer with you. We'll
There
make
you
a
go.
Trinity Force
Okay,
beer.
I'm game for that.
All right.
Trinity Force beer with 3 hops. Oh my god, I have to do this. I have to make this. 3 malts, 3 hops. It's a Trinity Force beer.
So Adam, did you listen to the question?
No, fuck off. I don't care. I'm having an epiphany of an idea.
Wow.
We're gonna use fucking
He didn't
caramel.
say fuck off to you, Abram. He's
Yeah,
telling
we
Kira
still
to
love
fuck
you,
off.
Abram. He's telling me to. Adam's a very mean person to me. It's an abusive relationship.
Every week, Thalden yells at me about the Brewcast, about how we could do the Brewcast. You're ruining it. Abram, I'm pretty sure Abram is a brewing guy. I'm pretty sure Abram is the guy who has emailed me, and I've emailed him like 100 times about brewing beers. So.
Well, this is going to be pretty
They probably
awkward now if
appreciate
it's not him, isn't it?
Well, you know what? I can always fall back on Latchet, who writes it. I'm a top jungle maid, and I have been recently playing a lot of... Wait, that's the same fucking question. I can always talk about Curtis, who...
No, wait. No, we didn't do Latchet.
Really? Wait.
We did latch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did Abram.
Oh, all right. Well, then Latchet. I just thought it was the same because it was like fucking jungle.
Man, you are
and,
drunk.
I'm
Go
not-
home.
I'm
Keep
really
going.
not that. Latchet, I'm a top jungle maid, and I have been recently playing a lot of tanks in my games. In fact, I have been discovered that I absolutely love being a tank. Oh, good for you, buddy.
You did it. You're helping your team.
like to
Good
have you
job.
on my team.
I wish more people did
Wait a minute,
that.
wait a minute. It makes sense that Abrams was a tank. All right, go on.
Ha!
Before recently, I've focused on fighters such as Jax, Pantheon, and Vi, or magic champions like Vladimir or Rumble. Now I've been loving playing as Shen, Maokai, and Malphite. I just love being a brick wall and either being in the middle of an enemy team or the force completely opposes. My issue comes with being lower elo, fluctuating between bronze 1 and bronze 2, and finding it hard to carry games. Well, you're a tank, you're not going to carry, buddy. I mean, that's kind of how it is.
You see, you say
it
that
wasn't
except
so
for-
hard carrying his champs like Jax and da-da-da. It's hard to make up for my team not focusing properly simply due to the fact da-da-da. How can I carry game better as tanks lower elo when I rely on my teammates to deal damage and focus priority targets?
So it's not carrying through killing people carrying. You affect the game in different ways. Which I think is what Adam was talking about there. Or you're not going to carry a game. Yeah, you're not going to kill everybody. As a tank, you're mostly an initiator. You're looking to catch somebody out to, start the time or start the fight in an advantage position for your team, and also to peel. Peeling is pretty important too. It depends on who you're playing.
You can rally people to do things like we've said it before. Like you go in as Shen, where you start ulting somebody, they're going to think, okay, I'm going to stick around instead of running away, hopefully. And
you're putting a lot of faith in solo queue players right there, D-Claw.
Right.
But if you want to play a tank,
so Swani throwing her ult, for example, everyone's like, oh crap, they're all stunned, let me go in. And then you can kind of force the team fight to happen.
Yeah. The difference here is going to be, this goes back to the early conversation we had, where it's going to be using your teleport properly and understanding how to move back to lane after using your teleport. If you want to play Maokai, you can actually be a giant bully carry early game as Maokai. One of the big things is to run attack speed in his marks. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes his auto attack animation much more fluid and allows you to get more passives off in the middle of a team fight. Thank you, Horse Doctor.
And he's the highest base AD in the game.
And he has high space AD. And after playing it, I realized how silly I was running the Magic Pen, because you don't need it. Because a lot of people will run Magic Armor Pen.
Why were you running Magic Pen?
Because for a while there was just running Magic Pen.
We should have had some words way before.
No, we probably should have.
Yeah.
Opinions on Ruglev as a real ace.
Anyway,
go to the last podcast if you want that. Anyway, no, play Maokai. Like, if you want a carry on top lane, I mean, I think Shen is amazing as long as you have some fucking ridiculously awesome ults that like turn team fights around. But I think Maokai also does it really well as well, because you can bully early in the game as him. You can get a kill instantly as you turn 6 because you're reducing damage, you're doing damage as you're taking damage, and just the fact that if you can use teleport properly to turn around a team fight and turn a 3v2 into a 3v3 and protect your carry to allow them to pick up a couple kills, you're probably going to win the game. It's all about being in the right place and understanding how to peel for your carry and hope that your carry does the damage.
Well, and also, if you're playing somebody like Shen, you're going to have to be on a different level of map awareness than you would if you were playing Maokai. Like, yes, you would have that teleport most likely if you're playing top lane, but when you have teleport and your ultimate, which potentially shields somebody from death, that requires a little bit of extra oomph that you might not be used to if you're not playing a champion like that all the time.
It's super helpful during the laning phase.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of times where people make a lot of mistakes in the lane, and most unfortunately, your teammates do that, and they'll die because of it. And if you're there with the map awareness to save them and then turn around the fight, that means that you just swung a kill.
Yep.
I mean, that is huge. That's a huge presence that Shen has, and why he was so strong for such a long period of time. And
it's also being aware of the fact that, like, hey, you need to be aware, but also positioned in a spot where if you do decide to ult, that guy who's playing Hecarim's just not going to knock you out of your ult midway through, whatever. That Maokai's not going to run over and Q you and knock you slightly to the point where your ult gets canceled. Like, there's a lot of little things that play into it. I like the champions such as Malphite pick, especially with some of the changes that they made with the more damage scaling on certain abilities recently. But again, it goes back to certain champions, especially at lower levels, that have shock value mechanics. And God, I really should patent that fucking phrase. Such as Malphite, who can press a button and the team immediately knows the tank went in and is doing things. Commit. That can make such a huge difference in games where people are really, really disorganized and basically need their hands held at every chance they get to know when they need to do things.
I think a big takeaway, because you played all those carry champions before, where you were going in trying to do the most damage to the enemy team. You like being in the thick of things. Kind of the uncomfortable area for you maybe is, like they were saying, peel. You want to peel. You have to recognize what your champion can do, and like Adam was saying, peel and hope that your carry can do the damage. That's something you're probably not used to, so maybe that's why you're not succeeding as much, because maybe you're not picking up that portion of your new responsibility as a tank. So try to push yourself to do things like that, which are a little more uncomfortable outside of your comfort zone. Peel a little bit more instead of going in and initiating every single time, because you have to know when it's best to initiate and when it's best to stay back and peel. So maybe if you can work on that a little bit, you'll find more success.
Just because you have a taunt or an ability that's a hard CC doesn't mean you need to use it offensively, because using it defensively can be just as powerful.
Punch knows all about that. I protect him the shit out of it when I play Maokai.
Those weren't even words, Adam.
Best Maokai NA right here. Look at those muscles. Look at that shit.
Not a word was said.
He's gonna play Draven tonight, and I'm gonna protect
Not
the
a
fuck
word.
out of him as Maokai. Like I'm just gonna jump all over him. I'm gonna
know
put
what?
my
I'll believe-
sweet hot ultimate all over his succulent body as I caress his axes with
Alright,
my
we're
tree
moving on.
bark.
All right, I'll believe those. I'll believe all of those extremely sensual descriptions when I see them.
He's gone.
Punch. He's like,
He needs an adult.
I think he just doesn't want people to see his boner
everybody
right now.
missed the succulent. Yeah, I know. Punch is
By the way,
blushing.
we have an explicit tag for a reason.
Yeah,
I'm not here anymore.
straight up explicit tag for a reason.
All the inhibitions come down when
I'm waiting for Punch to come back.
Sorry, I
so we
actually
can
needed to turn the light on, and you gave me a good excuse. It was getting too dark in here. And a little too hot.
a little too hot in there, huh?
talk. Woo! Get in there.
Gotta open a window.
We're gonna save this one. We saved that one. I mean, shit. We got 10 minutes left to talk. To Claude, he's got 2 minutes. What do you want to talk about, guys? What do we got next on the plate here?
Hey, Adam, do you want to say how you were right, though, even with all of the AP Israel bullshit, that Rangers is the better buy?
Yes, I do. Can we talk about it?
Heads up to all you haters who didn't like Adam's analysis. And mind you, maybe Adam was wrong because I did not listen to the
I
most
usually
recent
am.
episode.
I'm not really. Actually, I got praised the other day for coming up with Nidalee Jungle and Top Turd and I don't know, like just people stroking my ego.
All right.
Hang
So
on,
going back to the whole anecdotal evidence thing and seeing as how certain things can work and certain things can't just based off experience, to all the people who thought Skirmishers was most likely better, if you go to pro builds and you type in Ezreal and you see anybody building AP, not a single one of them are buying Skirmishers. They're all getting either Rangers or Chilling Smite. So just
But it
be
keeps you
aware.
alive for those so often
It doesn't
Ezreal
keep you
duels that
alive
we
for
jump into.
anything.
Well, you know what? If you have a Deb Bonaire skin, you should be putting on the Trailblazer. Anyway, good night, folks.
Good night.
That.
The loudest thing ever. Howdy, it's for a 56:36. It is done. Oh, that's right, because DeClaude had to AFK at 9 o'clock. Yeah, this episode just kind of shit the bed, didn't it, at the end of here?
No, I blame
But as
you.
soon as you came back, and it was doing good for a while.
Yeah, we were doing better without you in that small interim. But it's okay. We still love you.
DC'd. That's going to be a great one. Have fun with that. Let's yeah. I love DC's face as you can hear us talk. Anyways, yeah, I got nothing, guys. I think I'm done. Like, I think
I think you've had enough.
And hopefully
By that I mean you need
enough
more.
people very upset apparently with all of the Ezreal talk and everything else. So whatever, we can deal. Those are. Hey, DeClaude, if anybody's watching,
Oh, we're getting diapered on the stream
some
right
pretty
now.
sweet baby butt wipes going on right
Yeah, that's
now.
a baby diaper.
Yeah.
All right, so here's how this is going to work. If you guys are new and you enjoyed this entire podcast, let us know. Feedback at TrinityForcePodcast.com/r/T-Force Network or at T-Force Network. Don't forget to go check us out on Saturday the 11th. Saturday
Don't
the
forget-
11th.
If you disagree with anything we say, make sure to email us at feedback@TrinityForcePodcast.com and specifically reference how wrong Adam is about everything that he
Yeah.
says, because he
He gets really
loves,
salty.
I'm really not that
Love it.
wrong, though.
loves
That's the
it.
thing.
He's never loved anything more in his life than being told he was the worst.
You guys make me salty.
You're welcome.
You've been salty all day.
It's been a pretty trying day because last night, last night at 5 o'clock Eastern time, it went live. Like the post hit, and then like my Twitter got flooded. Both my Twitter and the T-Force Podcast Twitter was flooded, and I was driving home with my brother. And for those of you who don't know, my brother is headed back to Michigan, so I'm home alone in my house. Like I have a house alone. That's why the door's open, because it's the best fucking thing ever. I can be loud and obnoxious and annoying now. But I was in the car for the last time with him, and he was all happy and bubbly after work and trying to talk to me. And he was like, "Why don't you just put your phone down and talk to me?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You can't drive with that." I'm like, "I can too."
Adam,
like-
that's not legal. What are you doing?
In Kentucky, it don't matter.
Oh, okay, that's right. It is the BFE.
Yeah, in Ohio it matters. But yeah, no, I'm sitting there, I'm like driving the entire time, like scrolling through and watching and scrolling, and he got all fucking mad and like sit there and pouted.
Kids don't do what Adam does. He's a bad influence.
Yeah, no, I'm a bad influence. But I'm checking the thing the entire time. It's 5 o'clock, and then like I get home and I'm checking it, and Luke's like it runs into his bedroom and they go do a podcast, and like he yells at me the next morning, "Why'd you leave?" Like this is the drama that I have to deal with, right? But it's just been a trying night between having to stay up with all of the talk and sitting in TeamSpeak and reading the forum posts and da. And now I'm here tonight getting drunk doing a podcast. So
life is good.
Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for supporting us. Not even me.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for supporting us.
love you guys, and to be perfectly honest, we wouldn't necessarily like be here if it wasn't for the legions of loving listeners that we have that have helped us out along the way. So thank you very much.
Yes, please. I don't think we say it enough. Is how much we appreciate you guys.
And that's not just to donors, like new, old, whatever. That's anybody who's giving us support. Whether you agree with everything that we say or not, that's fine. Again, feedback at trinityforcepodcast.com, and focus on Adam because he loves being told he's wrong.
It's trinityforcenetwork.com.
What? All right. Well, I put feedback at Trinity Force Podcast.
Oh, I know. Because trinityforcepodcast.com is a mirror of trinityforcenetwork.com. I own both the domains.
All right. Well, aren't you cool?
No, actually, the business owns both the domains. I don't.
Yeah, the network owns both the domains.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. I'm done rambling. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Don't forget, I just want to put one last thing out there, just one final thing. If you're in the Ohio area or Northern Kentucky, we are having a World's Party.
Or I guess Indiana and or Pennsylvania, since Columbus is pretty central to all.
Or Michigan, pretty much all of that, right? Like
if you can get to Columbus sometime, what is it like October? The last week of October?
It's like second week of October. It was like second or third week of October.
I think it's later this year, though.
Oh, is it? But whatever World's date is, we are having a party. Then we're gonna actually have the full details. We're not gonna fuck up like we did last year. I promise. We're gonna actually.
And even though we did have a decent amount of people for what it was. We were going to plan things out slightly better and email Adam again to make him do it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find Punch, Chira, and I in the next few weekends, probably in the next month, I'll say that's 4 weekends, are going to go bar hop we're going to do it for the Trinity Force Network. We're going to go bar hop for the Trinity Force Network.
Strictly business.
We're going to scout Columbus for the best place for you guys.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've actually been considering picking up a place at the Holiday Inn up in Columbus, or a Holiday Inn or something, and just running on a spot and putting it on the big screen, and then like having people, and then buying some liquor or something, or figuring out, something like that. Because if we do that, we could have computers and stuff set up. We could have a big screen set up, whatever it may be, that people could watch the game on. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. We're gonna figure it out. So
it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know. We'll let you know a couple months ahead of time. I promise.
And it's actually going to be during the day for the first time ever, so it won't be 4 to 8 in the morning, and I won't be exhausted.
And we got drunk midday and then went back. And
mind you, it's not because I don't want listeners coming over my apartment, because realistically, I'm really chill and I don't care. It's more or less the point, like, I don't have enough room in here.
We are the enough room for all of us.
And you don't understand. Just having 5 people in here, it gets really hot. And I'm not doing that
2 years ago.
Like sweaty, like to the point where Wrecker passed out in my
your pantry.
My pantry. Yeah, he took a nap on the floor of my pantry, which is not big.
Yeah, no, everybody, dude. If it's the 31st, it is a Saturday, and it's going to be in the afternoon because it's Europe time, and they'll start at like 11 a.m. Eastern time, 12 noon. The latest it'll start is 1 or 2. Like, we can still do that. Even if it started at 5, we can still do it. Like, it beats the shit out of starting at 1 a.m. like it normally has. So, that's the extra way to kill your extra 10 minutes, guys. That's the Trinity Force Podcast. It's episode number 273. Thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget to go check us out in the in-game chat room, T-Force, guys. We will see you all on Monday.
We love you. Peace.